Hello, here we are again. Morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Morning, Sheila, Kaz, Catherine, Heather, Sarah. Hope everybody's okay. Hi, Karen, Shirley, Heather, Julia, Di, Fiona, Lynn. Brilliant to see you all. We are going to have some fun, or I'm going to have some fun, and I hope you might enjoy watching me have some fun. With doing some backgrounds again. And I know that I do keep revisiting various different backgrounds, but I keep finding lots of different lovely ways for you to have a play with some of the products that you may well already have. And so today we are going to use some of the stamps that I've already got. So this one is one of the Nellie Snellen ones. But I've also got some others that I'm going to have a practice at and show you. But you can see that we've got quite a dramatic sky going on here. So I think it's really quite interesting. I saw a very similar thing done with Tony Darroch, who does Stamps by Me, but she used some glitter pens and she also used some other techniques which were not quite my style. So that's okay, but it gave me an idea. And so I thought, well, we'll have a go with what I've got. So that's what we're going to do. It's raining here as well, and I'm quite pleased to say that because last night when we went to bed about 11 o'clock, it was 28 degrees in my bedroom. Blow that for a lark, I say. I don't mind it nice, ordinarily, but golly, at night time is a bit much. So let's see what we're going to have a play with. What we're going to work with is some watercolour card. So let's get that first. Get my blending mat here. So the stamp, as I said, you may well have been using already. So I'm just getting a blending mat and I'm getting myself a piece of already cut out watercolour card. Now, the watercolour card I've used is John Next Door one, but other watercolour card will be fine. There's nothing as particularly special, but I do like to have this one is a 300 GSM, and I do like to work with quite a strong GSM, heavy GSM, because I find that it gets a bit funny otherwise. It doesn't work so well. It gets too floppy if you're putting lots of water on it. Okay, so I'm also going to be working with the iZink, gosh, they're a bit bigger than everything else, the iZink felt die markers. Now they are not new. They have been on the market quite a while, and I have to say I haven't used them all that much. So I thought we would have a go with this particular technique, and you know, they work so well. So excited about this. I've made loads of them. So you can see that there's a set of 20. And I'm going to use various different colours from them. They are not alcohol markers, so they're not like the Pro markers, the Copics, that type of thing. They are dye-based markers, so they're the same product that's in all your little dye inks that you may have been using in the past to do any stamping or anything, but they're in a pen form. So they blend really well together, and they are exactly the same colours as is in the range of the dye inks. So you've got, I'm afraid, all the French colours: Encre, Cassis, Rosé, Framboise. Gosh, look at me, I'm absolutely fluent French, aren't I now? Anyway, so that's what we're going to be working with. Okay, so I've also got a little mister bottle because that's important. We need to mist this, and to hand I have a piece of kitchen towel because I'm going to be needing that as well. Okay, so I'm going to take a variety of colours, and I'm going to take the no, I'm not going to take that one. I'm going to take this one, which is Aurora. I'm going to take, oh goodness, Sia. Oh gosh, I thought I was fluent and now I'm not anymore, am I? I'm going to take grenadine. And then I'm going to go mauvish. And I'm going to go ochre. And I'm going to go with a dark blue as well. And this one is Outrima. So I've got 5 quite bold colours there. So that's the colours that we're working with. All right. So yes, you can use them on your stamps. So that's what they were initially. So if I was going to stamp something up, so say for example, I got hold of, I got hold of one of these stamps, I could take my pen and I could colour in just the flowers so that it was just the flowers that came out, and pick out each of the individual flowers and do it like that. But that's not what we're going to do today. So yes, that's exactly what they're for. How you could use them. Okay, so I'm going to spray with my mister onto my watercoloured card so that that's quite wet, and I'm going to start off with my yellow, which is the Aurora, and I'm just going to sweep this from left to right as it goes in. You can see that it sort of will blend, just doing a bit of a scribble really. So basically, if you can scribble, you can do this as well. Okay, so I'm just going to put down the yellow. Then I'm going to come on to the orange, or the Sierre, whatever you call that. And again, I'm going to come in from this side, and I'm just going to, it's already dried in some places, I'm just going to bring this. The pen does dry quite quickly, and so you will need to adjust some of your spray onto it. Now I'm leaving purposefully a gap. It doesn't matter where that gap is, but I'm leaving a certain sort of a gap because I think that sunsets and sunrises and things, yeah, you do see the sun on its own eventually, but a lot of the time you just see a parting in the clouds really for a bit of light. So that's what I'm aiming for here. Okay, just parting of the waves. So I'm just leaving an area here that's lighter than all the others. Okay, and as you can see, all I'm doing is just bringing that across. Then I'm going to go with my mauve, and I'm just bringing that onto the very top there. Just going to give it a bit of a spray because it's started to dry a little bit at the ends. And you can see when I do spray like that, that it starts to blend really, really well. So I'm just bringing that in from the sides. Now you could do, and I will do in a minute, a bigger piece of card. And therefore, if you've got a stamp that you might sort of, I don't know where I want to put it on the page. So you could perhaps just do the whole colour and then go with the whatever colour you want to finish it off, and then put your stamp in there so you know exactly where it is. So then I'm just going to go with one of the dark blues just down the bottom, just to give it a bit of a dark colour. So all I'm doing is I'm just coming from the edge, left and right, and I'm just bringing that colour in like that. Okay, but you can see also that I've left that white space there. So I'm going to give it one more spray. So it really is quite wet. And then I'm going to get my kitchen towel, and I'm just going to put it up on its end so that it drips off. Okay, so that the worst of it drips off, because I've got to heat this with my gun here. Okay, so how's everybody doing while I let this do? What's getting on her nerves? What's getting on her nerves? Oh, it's raining, and yeah, shouldn't moan about the weather. I mean, golly, when you're in lockdown, you really want it to be, you know, pretty good, don't you? It would have been a darn sight worse if it wasn't like that, I'm sure. Just want this bit to move just a bit more. There we are. So hopefully you can see that. Let's just wipe this off a second. Put that to one side. So you can see already that this has got this sort of almost ethereal, get me, effect on it. It's just so pretty. And I think we would call this one more a sunrise with the pinkies and the whatever colour. So I'm just going to dry this off, and I hope that this sound doesn't really blast you. So so this is the important bit, that it does need to be dry before you go to add any of your stamping onto it. And when it comes to drying something like this, I think I've said it before, but if you do have the fortune of having a dual temperature control, it's best to have it on the lower heat. Although we're keen and want to get it all done very quickly, it is better that you don't blast it too quickly, because otherwise it tends to curl very much more. This is so pretty. I hope that you think it is as well. I'm trying to take it away from the camera. So we do need to turn it over and heat from the other side as well. You can see that that's curling beautifully now. And I'm just going to then put my fingers on it just to hold it down. I'm sorry if this thing is blasting you so that you can't hardly hear it. Okay. So just make sure we've got as much moisture out of there as possible. Okay. But if you went for a thinner card, but you know, some of the watercolour that I've picked up in cheapy shops before now, they really aren't worth the while that I've picked up the cheap ones, because they curl just like an ordinary bit of paper. And at least with this one at 300 GSM, it's not too bad at all. Oh, so sorry about that row. So there we are. That's what my 5 colours there will make for me, so that I've got that beautiful background, but with as if the sun is coming out of there. Now, in the past, you could have got a mask and masked it off, and then you'd have this perfectly round sun and all that sort of thing. But I prefer not to do that. I prefer to just give it a hint that here comes the sun, thank goodness, type of thing. So I've got my stamping platform here, and I've got in it, let me just see, I've got in it one of the 2J stamps. So I'm just going to hold that into position with the magnets, because I don't normally use the magnets, which is very naughty, but I don't use them because I always jam my card right up to the corner, and then I know that even if I wanted to add something to that card in you know, a little while's time, I know where that card should go. But I've also got my clear cover over, because I want to see what this stamp would look like, and just in case, I think it's going to look lovely. Just in case, I wanted to put it on with that clear acetate grid over it, so that I can put it on straight, and I can also just check where it should go, as well as not risking, if there's any ink residual left on it from when I've used it before, that we don't get any marks on where I didn't want it onto my finished card. So then I'm going to take my VersaFine Clair in black. Again, I could use other colours, but I do other makes. I do like this one when I'm trying to do silhouette work, because I do find, sorry if the camera shakes, I do find that it is such a good, strong image. So this is my go-to when it is a silhouette type stamp. So let's just put that into position. Just press down. Just pick that up. Just going to do one more just to be, because I like it to be really concise. So just put that ink over once more. And again, that's the beauty of a stamping platform. How many times have we done that in the past, especially on these bigger stamps, that if you were to stamp a big image like this, how many times would it not work out in the middle? And then you've just wasted all your hard work. But not this time. So just take that apart, put my cover on there just to be safe. So hopefully you can see that it looks as if the sun is coming down here, maybe a little bit over here, but you've got these beautiful colours. I haven't had to colour it in. It's just lovely. And then if you go into your card stash, let's have a look. Hold on. And when you're mounting your card, let's put the lid back on there, have a try with different colours. If I was to stick this mauve on here, that's quite nice. It picks up with the mauve that's in here, so that works quite well. Then I've got one of the greens. Not so sure about the green. I don't think there's quite so much green in the card. Or even maybe one of the darker blues, which are quite nice as well. So one of the darker blues. And what I've done with this one is I've mounted it, first of all, though, onto black, because this is the darker colour. So I'm just going to do one more for you in just a second. So I've mounted it onto black, and then I've just put a little touch of gold. And I think that this could be for Father's Day, for masculine birthdays, anything really. And again, one of those nice flat cards, because there's no depth to that at all, for, you know, what you might want to use. So that one's very much a sunrise, because it's your pinky blues. If you've ever been up for sunrise, which I haven't very often, it's more likely to be the pale colours that are around first thing in the morning. But if we do now one that's much darker, so I've got my larger stamp here. Stamp. No, I haven't got a stamp at all. I've got a larger piece of card, and I think I'm going to do it so that it is orientated this way up. All right. So the same thing. I'm going to take my water spray and I'm going to spray the card so that's nice and wet. And then I'm going to start off with my vervine. So I'm going to bring that across. Some areas will do a bit more, so there's more vervine there, and then not quite so much. We can mix and match that as it goes. Okay. Then I'm going to go for one of the greeny colours. So this one is Ocean. And again, I'm going to sort of determine where I think I want my light source to come, my sun or whatever. Whoops. So yeah, I reckon I do. I think I'm going to have my sun round about there, a nice big sun. So I've taken out a little bit of colour there. So then I'm going to take my next green colour. I think I need to just put a bit more ink, water on there. So this sort of colouring could be for sunset, sunrise, whatever. It's really quite a pretty colour here, but I can also use it for a sea scene or a lake scene, that sort of thing as well, with the greens. And I'm going to come in with my dark blue. So again, I'm just taking it from one, I'm not scribbling around, I'm just taking it from one side to another and then just letting the water take the colour, really. Okay. And then I'm going to end up with another darker green, I think, or just one more darker green, because the stamp I've got in mind is sort of a greeny colour. Okay, so having got all that colour on it, I'm then going to spray it. And then I'm going to now get a fresh piece of tissue, pick it up, and I'm doing it, as we said, orientating the whole thing that way. So I'm going to have to pick it up that way and just let the excess water pool off like that. It just takes all the excess water. Isn't that pretty? That could be just by the sea. You could put some of the pink ink design stamps where they're the more sea orientated. They would look beautiful like that too, wouldn't they? It's so effective, isn't it, Fiona? Yeah, I have to say, I will show you that I've gone a bit mad with making quite a few, because I just think why didn't I ever think of it before? It's just so easy just to do a background, and they're often, I mean, certain people have made, well, because they should. No, I was going to bemoan, but some people have made money by making pads out of backgrounds like this. And really, gosh, if you've just got half a dozen pens, you could make all sorts of colours, all sorts of backgrounds. So I'm just, now I am going to trim this down, so panic you not. Yeah, you certainly could use the ink pads with the watercolour pen. You will get a more washier look though. That's all I would say. Washier? I'll make my own words up. Washed out is the word I'm looking for, but that's absolutely fine. Have a go, because it really works so well. But I think that the secret is that this is a brush stroke from one side to the other, not just sort of completely randomly across, just from one side to another, and just to keep going with it. So the secret, I would say, is moving it around, but also thick enough card in the first place. For me, that seems to do the trick. And I'm getting very posh now, but cold pressed. You may have seen that when it comes to the watercolour card. Cold pressed card. That way it's more texture to it. The hot press is sort of been hot pressed and it's got like a smoother finish, and you do want it to grab a little bit so that as the ink falls down, it just soaks into the card as it's going along. Okay, so again, sorry about the noise, but we do want to get that nice and dry. It's just watercolour card. It's John's watercolour card, Heather, that we're using. The only water that you couldn't really use distress oxides with this. Distress inks would work, but distress oxides would not, because they've got too much water in them, and also they do take a long time to dry, whereas this is dry now, so that's that much better as well. So just grab my stamping platform over again, and I'm going to take that one off because I don't want to use that one anymore. And I thought that I would use, whoops, well, breaking the equipment. I'm going to use one of the Silhouette seed heads or something. And that's what I thought we'd have a go at. So just gonna, that's like magic, that is, isn't it? Did you see just now that there were 4 on there? Moved my hand over and suddenly there's only 3. It's because it sticks to my blooming watch strap. So just want to pop that into place like that. Pop my cover over there so it just protects it. And I'm going to, whoops, oh gosh, I haven't used it, so it's very, very sticky. So I'm going to pick that up like that. And again, I'm going to do it in black because I want it to be a silhouette. And I'm going to be using the VersaFine black one here as well. So this is one of the Woodware silhouette type stamps. Again, this type of background really lends itself to doing a silhouette, I think. So just, oh, we don't want that in the way. So let's just press that down. So any of your silhouette stamps will do. Because it's not been used before, it does tend to not ink up the first time. So let's just do that a second time. Okay, still not happy with that bit there. Wait a minute. That's better. That's better. So I'm just going to take them off. Put them back on there. Lid back on there. Cover just on there. Then I'm just going to get my trimmer to cut this one off. So I'm going to take this down the bottom and I'm going to give it just, I don't want that one in there. Trim it on the side there. Trim a little bit. So I'm not measuring this. I'm just cutting off the bits I don't want really. And then I cut off a little bit of the top. So I'm still here. Hold on. I'm just trying to decide what colour I might want to choose for this. So yeah, this is a bright green and I wouldn't normally use it, but doesn't that just pick that out? Just the other day. What have I done with them? Here we are. On the top, because that's what it is, I think. Beautiful. I'll finish the card up and show you all about that later. So I hope that you've liked the techniques that I've used today. As I said, I did see them before. And it isn't one that I've thought up myself, but it is with using some of the products that I have got as opposed to some of the products that I haven't got. So it's all with the felt markers and all the different cards there. So let me just show you before I go some of the samples that I use. So that's the one that I finished off completely, and that is much more like about a storm, I think, just to be coming up. And I just love the way that the ink bled over there. So that one was that. Then I've done a very similar one with the dark colours and the light just coming down from there. So that's with the Riverbank, no, not Riverbank, Treeline stamp. That one I got a little bit sort of carried away. That is almost, well, I don't know, Northern Lights-ish, because you could do a beautiful Northern Lights with it. And that's, you know, a lot more yellow at the top. This one again it didn't quite work for me here because I needed to have had a bigger stamp. That's what I thought. Yes, I could trim that all down, but I needed that to have been a bit of a bigger stamp in there, which I didn't have. And here's one where it's really funky. This is sort of like rainbow for the NHS type of one, isn't it? But again, you don't need to have all of that. And if you just to put one of your stamps over the top of that, this is the Nellie Snellen one, you know, that would just look lovely. And although there are multicolours, which you probably wouldn't see quite so much like that, once you've put the dark colours over it, it just pops. It just pops. So there you go. Lots of different choices. Do have a play. And if you have a play with anything that you've, with this type of thing today, do pop it onto the website, to the Facebook page, and let's have a look. I'll finish that card off and put that on there. I do have some special offers on the pens, so there are some sets there for sunrise and sunset over on the website, maximumcrafts.com. There's the sunset is the darker colours, and the sunrise is the sort of paler colours, but you can pop a note on there to say what particular cards colours that you would like. Okay, so am I on a timer that cuts off? No, I'm on a timer that my stomach says cut off. So the next time I will be with you, all being well, is on Friday morning at 10 o'clock for Fancy Fold Friday. And that will be some different fancy folds to show you. And then I'm back on Sunday for the Sunday special. Thank you very much for joining me today. Don't forget that all of these videos are over on the YouTube channel of Maximum Crafts. And Maximum Crafts is all one word. Do not forget that, because some weird and wonderful things come up if you put it in 2 words. So, as I said, thanks Fiona, thanks Catherine, Jill, Janice, Trisha, Kaz, Sheila, Sarah, Sandra, everybody, Heather, Jill. Lovely to see you all again. Thanks very much for joining me, and see you again on Friday. Thanks a lot. Bye.